Welcome to the Creative and Ambitious Entrepreneur Podcast.
My name is Jen Clark.
And I'm Elke Clark. We are a mother-daughter team who started our Zazzle e-commerce businesses over 10 years ago and have sold $15 million and counting of products on Zazzle with our designs on them.
We had so many people asking us how we did this, so we created our signature course, the Profit by Design Academy, which teaches our 5 strategies for success on Zazzle.
When we aren't helping creative entrepreneurs just like you create profitable e-commerce businesses, we love cooking food from places all over the world that we've traveled to, jet setting to our next dream destination, spending quality time with our close friends and family, or having fun creating our next bestsellers in our Zazzle businesses.
In this podcast, we share actionable steps you, the creative, can take to make money in your e-commerce business on Zazzle. Each episode will take you one step closer to achieving freedom with your time, location, and finances.
We believe that you can have anything you dream of, as long as you work smarter, not harder. And we're here to give you the tools you need to make your dreams happen. Let's get started. Well, hey there, it's Elke, and welcome back to another episode of the Creative and Ambitious Entrepreneur Podcast. Again, today I'm flying solo. Jen is not feeling well. She has terrible allergies, and this allergy season is supposed to be the worst ever for a long time. So, my apologies to having her not be part of this. But here we go. We're going to discuss an incredibly important topic that we get asked all the time. And the topic is, how many products do you need in order to make sales on a Zazzle platform? And I'm going to go dive deep into that. I'm sure you're interested in finding out what is that magical number that you need in order to finally make those sales on the Zazzle platform. And I think that you'll be surprised at my answer. So can you wait? No, not at all. So let's get started. All right. So unfortunately, even though this is the number one question that people always ask, how many products do I have to finally make in order to get that first sale, or to, make enough money so that it's generating me 6 figures in income every year? And unfortunately, there is no right answer, because it really depends on a lot of other aspects of who you're serving, how much do they buy, and what way is it that you're driving traffic to the Zazzle platform? And so everyone here who's been, if you're watching this now and go like, what do you mean there's no number? Can I just make like 20 products and then I'll be good? Or if I reach 1,000, I should be guaranteed a sale? Unfortunately, that just isn't how this works. And the key is to understand and give yourself the grace to say it's a little bit more complicated than that. Because ultimately, you're not really after your first sale, or even after, how many products do I need to make 6 figures on Zazzle every year? And we do have some people that do make that 6 figures every year, which is really fun, because they're obviously doing what we need, what we've taught them in the 5 strategies, and they're following what we teach in the coaching program, the Profit by Design Academy, to the letter. And therefore, they're doing really, really well. And maybe I'll even put in the podcast links. I'll do that, actually. I'll give you the podcast links to Christine as well as Brandon, who have not only reached certain 6-figure earnings, but they're doing it every year. And this is just recently. When they first started, they didn't have that success right away. And I think the point here is that, first of all, Zazzle is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's also not a business where you can get something done in a really short time period. You have to put in the work. It's not that you have to work hard, but you have to put in the work and you have to give it time. So the sooner you start doing things correctly, according to the things that are, needed in order for it to be a proper running business, the sooner you're going to start to see those results. And it has actually nothing to do with the number of products. It has to do with the number of sales that you get from the products. And I know that's backwards, because you're hoping like, okay, what number of products so I can get the first sale or multiple sales or expect 6 figures all the time. But it's actually backwards. you have to put in you have to get those sales to know what the average is for you and your niche and your customer that you're serving as to what number of products you need, or how successful you'll be if you post one product or you have to post 100, and then what your success rate is and your conversion rate is, it's called. And so this is the big takeaway from today, but I'm going to help you walk through this and make sure that you understand what you can do, and not just look at a number, but look at what's truly important to make those sales. And then the number itself will actually not be as important to get those sales, but the number will be somehow an indicator for you as to how many other products you can make ultimately to increase and scale your business, which is going to be really fun. All right. So in general, what you need to do initially is, and I'm going to give you a couple of pointers, there's like 5 altogether that I'm going to go over, and it'll really help you narrow in on answering the really important question is, how do I make sales? Right? Not just how much effort do I have to put in before I get rewarded? And that's what that question is actually asking. And you're almost like limiting yourself when you do that. If you ask that question and you're expecting something after posting a certain number of products, it doesn't make sense, right? The idea here is that what are those products? If it's just a number, what if you posted 100 of the same design? Then you have one chance, one design, and even though it's on 100 products, it's really not going to give you as much leverage as if you did 100 intentional products, like we do when I show you this in our Profit by Design Academy, where we have a monthly 100 intentional products, and I teach you exactly what to break that down into so that you can target specific things and get the most out of it for trying new things, keep leveraging what's working, stop doing what's not working, and all the rest of that. All right, so the first point that I want to make is you have to define your niche and your avatar. And it always comes back to that. And yes, it could be one person, it could be a group of people buying things, but you ultimately have to know who you're serving as a customer. And if you're not serving, like if you don't know who you're serving as a customer, how can you know what they want and what they'll be willing to put their money down for? So if I now said, I'm just like, I love my paintings, for example, which sometimes I show that in our podcast or not, but there's a whole bunch of styles that I have. And maybe, I want to sell my paintings as prints on the Zazzle platform. Well, I have to know my customer. Is that customer interested in really bold red, orange, blue, primary colored, abstract paintings of landscapes of the Algonquin, which is like an area up north in our wonderful province of Ontario, where I live in Canada, and it's what people even like travel to because it's so unique and different? Or is the Zazzle population, who actually is mostly Americans who are shopping, even going to know what Algonquin is, right? And so I have to know my avatar, and I have to know the volume of people that are willing to even understand what my artwork's all about, let alone buy it on a canvas. Because then the next thing I have to do is think about what my customer shops and wants to buy it on, right? Maybe they don't just want to buy it on a canvas. Maybe they don't have room on their walls, and maybe they actually want to buy something that's because they love the artwork. Maybe they can't afford the artwork or the canvas, or they don't have the room, and so they prefer it on a cell phone case or a mug, or a notepad or something like that. And because if I dive in and find out what that customer really wants through market research, and what I can see on the Zazzle marketplace in terms of what gets sold for artwork, then I can be much more clear as to what numbers of products and what type of products I have to make in order to capture that customer. So the idea here is that if you need help with defining your customer avatar, we do that. We help you. We coach you. We actually read through your customer avatar description. We tell you what to write down, how detailed to get, and also how to define your niche. And that all happens in the Profit by Design Academy. It's way too much for over here. We just want to get the points down in terms of what it is that needs to happen in order for you to make those sales, despite the fact that you were just looking for a number. Okay, then the second thing is that you have to do the research to see if your customer even shops on Zazzle. And people forget that. They go like, I have these great ideas. This is what I'm going to do. And this artwork sells at, galleries, or my surface patterns are just awesome. They sell so much on Spoonflower. Maybe they aren't the same, like the customer that's shopping on Zazzle maybe doesn't actually want that, right? So in that case, obviously, you either have to drive traffic to it from external sources and bring people to your store, rely less, for example, on the Zazzle marketplace to actually get those sales. It doesn't mean you can't sell those, but then you have to have a different strategy in terms of how you run your business and you get those sales to manifest. And then the third thing is if you are not good at driving traffic and you also maybe don't have a demand, then what is it that you need to do to deliver on what actually the customer wants that is on the Zazzle platform, right? So, and that's one of the things where we talk about letting go of artist ego. If you love your artwork and you can drive traffic to it, for example, or your photography or your quilting patterns, or your love for fishing with and watercolor, and that you're doing these beautiful watercolors that all relate to people who love fishing, which we've had a client like that who did that and was really struggling initially. But once we helped her realize that she needed to drive traffic rather than having being on the Zazzle marketplace, and she had to make it interesting and talk the Zazzle speak in terms of the customer that comes to Zazzle, and make it less technical rather than and more general, then all of a sudden she started getting traction and her sales increased, obviously, which is really awesome. But the key here is deliver on what the Zazzle customer is coming to the platform for. Or if you can't and you want to deliver something unique and different, which is actually also what the Zazzle customer wants, then you have to either speak their language in terms of how they would find it, and that's talking about, SEO and adding the right titles and tags to your products, so that people can understand it in their speak. So like if you were focusing on all the different varieties of flowers and you literally gave the name of the scientific name of each species of flowers, and that was how you presented it in the marketplace with the title and in the tags, most people don't know that. But if they want yellow flowers with lots of petals, then that's a different way of targeting that customer, right? So you have to know that the customer would still want to buy a yellow flower, but then speak their language and make sure that you deliver on what the customer wants and also what products they want it on, right? So if you have something that you love as a painting or a photograph or a surface pattern, and then all you do is what I call slapping it on some other products because you're hoping something will sell, unfortunately that's not going to work. Maybe they would love it, but only if it has a monogram on it, or only if they could add their name of their child to it because it's going to be a plaque for their kids' room, or they just got married and this is the theme of the flowers that they had at their wedding, and they just really resonate with this, but they want a nice guest book or a memory book or a binder to keep their photographs in from the wedding, anything like that. Then all of a sudden you've got that connection. And then rather than just having a number of products that you've churned out with a design on it that you think is gorgeous, and other people maybe think is gorgeous in like the physical world, then you instead are targeting that customer in a way through titles, tags, which is SEO, which is search engine optimization, and also in the actual design itself, to allow that customer to go like, wow, this is awesome. And they may not even be buying it specifically because it was your artwork. They may just be buying it because it's a really beautiful sunset that you painted, and they don't even know who the artist is, but they love it. And then they get to know you as an artist, and then you can drive more traffic to that particular population because they are starting to know you as an artist, even though initially they didn't. And I think this is one of the things that's so key as to how we became successful, Jennifer and I, because we realized that we hit these roadblocks as well because we weren't actually connecting with the customer in a way. And this is the hard part because on Zazzle, you can't actually talk to the customer and you can't interact with the customer. And so we had to figure it out the hard way of just trying different things. But now that we have tried, the things that work are the things where we've put ourselves in the shoes of the customer and taken what we have to offer and modified it or helped communicate better that this is what we have to offer. And the modification would come in how you put the design on the product that's the blank that Zazzle starts out with and that we get to put all our wonderful designs on. And how would we use that image or the elements or the text or the font or the photo in a way that resonates with the customer and helps serve them so that they can actually use the product the way they want to use it. So this is really, really key to your success on a Zazzle platform and is irrespective of numbers. So the numbers afterwards are much more important because once you get that one product that sells really well on that with that one design on it, then you can very strategically decide, okay, so what else could this be transferred to? But because you've already done the research and you understand your customer, it's going to be very easy for you to know which ones to do and which ones to not do. And that's called being smart rather than working hard. You're working in a smart way because then you don't actually have to work that hard. You just need to put the products on the design on very specific products. And that allows you to get the most return for your work. So actually, you're going to end up getting more profit from having actually less products out there, but more targeted, specific for use and for your audience and your customer. Isn't that exciting? All right. So one of the things I wanted to also bring in is how do you create demand in non-traditional ways, for example? Because the one thing that you can do as anyone here, like anyone of you watching, can actually take any design and put it up and see what happens, right? But the frustration, and this is why we get asked this question all the time, is how many products do I have to finally make before I get a sale, right? But the key here is that if you don't actually work on working in the marketplace and with that Zazzle customer that's already coming there looking for things, then if you would rather, you can work by creating a demand for your products in a couple of ways. The first is very easy. It's promotion. And once you've done the really good job of doing the SEO or the search engine optimization of your titles and your tags, which are associated with each product, then the second thing that you have to do is, and the design is really good as well, then you're ready to promote, right? If you promote every single thing and it's really not the greatest and it doesn't serve a purpose, you don't even need to promote it, really. But when you promote something that you know is intentional and your product's been set up properly so that it has the best opportunity to get searched and found, then it's because that's all tied into social media as well, right? So then you can promote on Pinterest. And you can promote on Instagram and you can promote on Twitter, but we prefer Pinterest for a lot of reasons. And you can find out more how to do that when you join the Profit by Design Academy coaching program.
Have you heard about the Profit by Design Academy coaching program yet?
Are you a new or current Zazzle designer who is struggling to figure out how to make Zazzle work for you? Worried that you're wasting your time using the throw spaghetti against the wall to see if it sticks method? And unsure how you can start and scale your Zazzle business to reach your first $5,000 month?
then the Profit by Design Academy coaching program is the perfect solution for you. You will feel confident, supported, and clear on how to create your dream Zazzle business.
Imagine having the exact 5 strategies that we use to build and scale our Zazzle businesses, which have sold over $15 million worth of Zazzle products so far.
And it's not just us. The 5 strategies taught in the Profit by Design Academy coaching program and the coaching support have helped our clients sell over $6 million worth of Zazzle products so far.
Head to the show notes to grab the link, and we'll see you inside the Profit by Design Academy coaching program. Now let's get back to the show. Okay. And also you can watch some other podcasts that we have where we go really deep into Pinterest, which is really hard, unique and very important that you keep up to date on how you use Pinterest because it keeps changing. But that's a really important way to branch out and create that demand. Another way is not just to create the demand from a product, but to create the demand because it's you. And Zazzle is that unique platform where you can come as an artist or as a writer or as an author or as a surface pattern designer, as a photographer, pretty much any type of creative. And because you may have already created a reputation for yourself outside of the Zazzle platform, you personally can draw that traffic to the Zazzle platform. So when you set up a store, it's actually just like an offshoot of your already established business and allows you to merchandise your reputation and your brand. And so I'm going to actually talk about 2 examples that are very important examples of how people have monetized on the Zazzle platform and actually driven traffic to the point where, and I'm going to go into more detail, but this one item that's in the top best all-time selling products from this one person doesn't even have a title. It just says photo statue. So totally breaking all the rules. But because this person created this demand, it's a bestseller. And so always remember that the Zazzle platform is not a cookie cutter, one strategy fits all. It's a very versatile platform that you can use to bring traffic to the platform and also to create a brand and market yourself on the platform. And so I'm really excited to talk about 2 designers that have stores on the Zazzle platform, each of them bringing a different history to it and how they created their wealth. And they're both very wealthy. And it's really exciting to talk about these. And they're not part of our coaching program, but I just think they're really, really great examples of how you can use the Zazzle marketplace to drive traffic and also have sales through merchandising outside and driving that traffic to the Zazzle marketplace. And of course, then when it started to sell on the Zazzle marketplace, they created more interest and traffic, even because it was just selling on the Zazzle marketplace. So it's exciting. It just snowballs. All right. So the first person I want to talk about is this wonderful woman who's calls herself the Blogess. And she is really famous for several books that she's written, but initially she started out with a blog. And she talks about her dealing with her depression, and she's got a wicked sense of humor. And I've just laughed in some of her posts that she's made. And she's obviously attracted the attention of many, many other people. And her blog actually was super successful. And then she took her blog posts and she created wrote her first book. And she's ultimately had many more books after that. And so the Blogess, and I'm going to put the link in the show notes so that you can not only see her Zazzle store, but also the link to her net worth, which as of 2021 was about 1.1 million, which is awesome. And also the photo statue of the chicken that has created the stir on the Zazzle platform, which, first of all, photo statues don't sell very well. And they're a very small price, so it's not like she's going to make a lot of money off each sale. But it's related to a blog post she did, which was one of the ones where I was laughing so hard I was crying. And obviously, by taking that information in that story, and then adding the opportunity for someone to buy something with that picture of the chicken on it, whether it's a photo statue or a mug or a t-shirt. It just helps people resonate with what she did in her brand to help, touch people in terms of touching their hearts, that, they're suffering from depression or they're just enjoying the fact that this lady is doing so well to help herself and work her way through the depression and enjoy life when she's not in that depressive state, so that it's worth living, right? And I think that's something that's so important, because her messaging is touching a lot of lives and helping people through depression themselves and so on. And then it resonates. There's a connection. There was this know, like, and trust factor. And because her readership was so high, when she then said, hey, go check this out on Zazzle, then and she directed people to her store, she made a lot of money, right? She made money from her statue the little photo statue that she sold. And also she made money because there's a referral income opportunity on the Zazzle platform as well. If you drive traffic to Zazzle and you make a sale, especially if you're in the promoter program number 2, and I guess I better post a link in there as well. But that allows you to actually make 35% if you sell your own products, if you refer them. And so that's a really cool option from Zazzle. And yeah, so all of this is not because she started a Zazzle store, but she had a blog and she wanted to merchandise it. And the things that she was doing on her blog, there's like a raccoon, a chicken, there's all kinds of wonderful, funny things. And you go like, why would I buy this? It's like a crazy picture, but it's because there's a connection to the story that she tells, and she doesn't have to do as much marketing in the Zazzle marketplace or anywhere else. Is because her marketing is being done on the blog, and that her readership is high enough that she can then drive traffic and get people to go to the Zazzle store. And then that's that's her story. And it's really served her well, because even to this day, if you would go check out the all-time bestsellers on the Zazzle platform, you'll see that her chicken statue is, I think, on the first page. So it's obviously one of the top sellers of all time on the Zazzle platform, which is cool. All right. So the second person that I want to talk about is the person who developed the grumpy cat. And I'm not clear about exactly what happened, whether she developed it initially on the Zazzle platform or she had her website first. But this wonderful lady had a cat who is actually a real cat and had a different name, but she started doing memes with the picture of this cat that had like this grumpy face all the time. And it really resonated with a lot of people. A lot of people laughed. People actually have said that they've been cured of cancer because they made, like, the grumpy cat memes made them laugh so much. And they swear to God that that's the reason, because they, used laughter as a way to help them overcome their cancer. And this is like incredible how much impact this grumpy cat has had on people. And the lady had a grumpy cat store and still does on the Zazzle marketplace. And I've got that link in the show notes as well. And according to the 2018, that's all I can find. I don't know. This lady keeps her net worth quite close to her heart. She doesn't talk about it too much. But in 2018, we've got a link here for you to look at and read a little bit more about it. But according to Pet Rich List, the grumpy cat is the second richest pet in the world, and just trailing behind the German Shepherd Gunther the Fourth. And it lists that the grumpy cat's net worth is somewhere around $99 million. Oh my gosh. So hello. Yes. And if I don't know exactly, like I said, it could be that she also had the website and was elsewhere. But I remember when the grumpy cats first came onto the Zazzle marketplace, and it was so much fun. And everyone is just hilariously laughing. And there were so many sales because the products were always on the top bestsellers. And so it's wonderful how a picture of a cat, by adding value of funny memes and text, can change people's lives, make them laugh, and like you're serving that customer by giving them a happy existence, right? By laughing. And so that's a way for a person to take something and drive traffic to their Zazzle store. And even if this lady started in the Zazzle marketplace, she brought something so unique and different to the marketplace that it ultimately created quite a sensation. And I think also, if I don't, there's also a couple of things that happened. It ended up giving her a ton of merchandise opportunities, not just on the Zazzle marketplace, but also sponsorship and media appearances and in film. And then there was even a lawsuit because some coffee company wanted to use it and didn't get their permission. And the lady won the lawsuit and got over $700,000 as a payout. So who knows what your Zazzle journey will be like in terms of your success on Zazzle. But honestly, the way that you can make a difference on the Zazzle platform is not just by what number of products you put out there. It's the quality of the products, the customers that you target, the service that you give to those customers based on what you deliver on those products as designs, and just get involved. Be part of the buying experience. Be part of knowing what that customer wants and delivering on it. And even though you might think, oh, well, but maybe they don't want my, artwork, or they don't want my photography, but hey, someone took a picture of a cat that they liked because it had a funny, grumpy face, and the rest is history. So yeah, that's all I can say. Or someone who's, cracking themselves up laughing because they found a chicken that was like very large statue, metal statue. And this is the blogess that they went shopping with their friend. They found this really crazy, silly statue in a garden center, and they brought it home, and they thought it would be really funny to put it in the front of their door and ring the doorbell, and the husband would open it up, and they were just laughing themselves silly that he would open it up to this chicken. And of course they played around with it and did a whole bunch of other stuff for fun and laughs. And that story resonated with me. It resonated with obviously a lot of other people. And for her as the blogess to start thinking, I'm going to make this a photo statue on Zazzle and put it on a mug because there's so many people who love that story. That's unique merchandising. And that's what I want from you to understand, that Zazzle is this incredibly infinite opportunity for you to have fun with your merchandising and have fun finding ways to serve your customer in ways that people don't actually even expect. And it can lead to some incredible success stories. And I hope you become one of them. So thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I'm going to review quickly to make sure that you understand the points that I covered today. And then we'll say goodbye. So first of all, the answer to your question as to whether or not, how many products do you have to have on the Zazzle marketplace before you start making sales? The answer is there is no answer. There's no specific number, and it depends very much on who your customer is and what they want and what niche you're serving. And then you have to do your research to make sure that if you are even, you've made those decisions to know what you think as the customer on the Zazzle marketplace, you have to ask yourself, is this actually a customer that's on the Zazzle marketplace? And if it is, then how do they search for that product that you're offering? And if you don't have your titles and tags properly set up, or you're not describing it very well, or even creating the use that would actually be very useful to the customer, then on whether it's on a product or the way you design the elements that you add to the design so that the customer can use it in a way that they want to, then unfortunately, even by defining your avatar, you're not actually delivering on something that a customer would purchase. So you have to go to that second level. And then the next thing is if you are planning on, you don't have a big following or anything, then you're dealing with the Zazzle marketplace. So let's make sure that you, first of all, either work within that Zazzle marketplace and really lock it in as to what that customer wants that's coming to Zazzle, or you are driving traffic through some other means that's social media like Pinterest to make sure that people just do get a chance to see your products. And then once they see them, they're going to love them. And then if you already have a reputation, whether that's like fine artist or, you're known in your niche, whether that's quilting or stitching or knitting or pattern designs or amazing abstract art or photography or like anything, it doesn't have to even be abstract art. But if you're already known and you have a following outside of the Zazzle marketplace, the merchandising opportunities are endless. As you can see, even when it's just a blogger, and I'm just saying just a blogger, not even a creative that's got anything. She just took a picture of this big metal statue and put it on a cup. And I don't even think it's really clear. It might be quite blurry, but it's okay. It's not that. In that case, all those other rules go out the window because she has already created, the bloggess has created that demand for it. And it doesn't matter that it's not as great a quality. It's more that it keeps reminding people of something that was hilarious. And so things like that allow you to rethink how you work on the Zazzle platform. And then the Grumpy Cat example, and as I said, I really apologize, but I don't know if she initially started on Zazzle or has had more than just Zazzle going at the beginning. But I personally saw her rise in the Zazzle platform, and it was so much fun to see all those memes, and then to hear that she'd been doing better with other things and got film and like media appearances and so on. It's so fun. And so that could be you. There's been so many of our coaching clients in the Profit by Design Academy that have had people at like movie studios and TV show studios address, mail them and say, could they use their product in like a scene? And that maybe they don't get paid for it, but maybe they do. But in the meantime, you're getting that recognition. And there's others who have gotten licensing deals with Pottery Barn and Barrel and Crate and Barrel and things like that, where you just go like, wow, I didn't even know that existed as an opportunity. So let your entrepreneurial spirit soar and allow yourself to think more along those lines as to what we've just talked about here, or I've talked about here in the podcast, rather than deciding, okay, well, I have to make this number of products and then I should get a sale, right? I know that's the way that we all think because we're trying to do the least amount of work to get the most amount of effect. But if you work smart and not hard, you're actually going to get much more enjoyment, fulfillment, and profitability from your experience on the Zazzle platform. So thank you so much for listening, and we will see you in the next episode. Take care. See you next week. Thank you so much for listening to The Creative and Ambitious Entrepreneur with Jen and Elke Clark.
We hope this episode has given you actionable steps to start and scale your Zazzle business so that you can have the passive online income to have location and time freedom to live your dream life.
If you've enjoyed this episode, please take a minute to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. Each review helps us reach more creative entrepreneurs like you working to create a profitable e-commerce business.
And don't forget to take a screenshot and share it on your Instagram stories and tag us at Miss Jen Clark and at Elke Clark. We'd love to hear your biggest takeaways from today's episode. See you back here next week.